What's going on, racing fans? And welcome back to another edition here of Racing Recap on the Each and Every Stride YouTube channel. And my name is Keith. I'm going to be going over the highlights the weekend here for Saturday and Sunday for March 1st and March 2nd. Saw a lot of great performances on the racetrack, even in the three-year-old prep races that I covered here on the Each and Every Stride channel. And also the older male division had a couple of big performances on Comeback Trail as well. So hit the like button and subscribe here to Each and Every Stride. I really appreciate that support. Let's talk about the Gotham Stakes. So we saw a lot of action here the weekend, and as you know, as horse players, really these standout performances could lead to another huge thing, even like the first Saturday in May for the Kentucky Derby. So we had the Gotham Stakes run at Aqueduct, 50 points to the qualify points to the winner. And we saw Flood Zone, big upset here for Brad Cox, one going away in the huge upset here, sent off at 17-1. So paid $37.60, showed the speed like he did in Gulfstream. So those Florida bred races at Gulfstream really stood out. And this horse had a huge step forward for the new connections. And really, was with Sand Devil, my top pick, 7-5 favorite, was on the lead early with Sand Devil, and also 22-1 shot Normandy Coast. The fractions were 23.86 and then 47.97. And then Sand Devil also got 25 qualifying points for second. But how about this performance by Flood Zone? This was for Reylu Gutierrez, stayed aboard. So I thought that was interesting. This is the third start of this horse's career for a new barn in Brad Cox. Keep the same jockey. So that was interesting. The chemistry must have been there. Flood Zone was privately purchased and really showed his talent for the first time here. So it's going to be interesting. These connections I read online that Brad Cox and the connections are going to bring Flood Zone back to Florida, see what the options are moving forward. Probably going to be some kind of race, I would think, either, March 29th or April 5th, somewhere around that range, to convince these connections that the 1 1/8 race, got to have another race, even longer distance here. And it's going to be the true test of the Triple Crown, races here for Flood Zone. But happy for the connections. I didn't have this one. I actually had the second and third place finishers. So I had Sand Devil and Garamond did finish third. The Price horse there who ended up getting bet, like I mentioned. So, this is a field to keep an eye on moving forward. And McAfee, the half brother of Torpedo Anna, who was 2024 Horse of the Year, actually finished fourth place. So that's another horse to keep an eye on. But congratulations to Flood Zone there. That was quite the performance going away there. Let's talk about the Fountain of Youth Stakes. So this was an action-packed weekend here on the Kentucky Derby Trail. And how about this comeback performance by Sovereignty? Quieting the suspects like myself, actually, with coming off the bench and winning. Really, the final strides to get up at the wire versus River Thames. For Junior Alvarado, the rider of Sovereignty, and trainer Bill Mott, they must be really thrilled. The street sense. I mentioned there was a class perspective. That performance was, definitely jaw-dropping. Me as a horse player, I wasn't sure if this horse was going to be ready off the bench, but wow, the final strides, I really thought River Thames was home free. But Junior Alvarado, he said he had a lot of horse coming down the final stretch there. But before Sovereignty actually lost contact with the field, when I was watching the overhead, they showed it during the race. I said, this horse has too much to do. I did see him in the back, and it was against the bias all day. Mentioned when I was handicapping this race with you guys is that the front speed bias on these stakes days, it's a real thing. So the fact that this horse overdid that, rode that, is really good for this horse. And they're going to see if this horse is going to run again before the Kentucky Derby, because he just got the 50 qualifying points to get in the gate there, and paid Sovereignty paid $8.40 to win. River Thames was 2.5 lengths, ahead of NeoQuest, who actually finished third. So that was your top three finishers. I think that Sovereignty, if he is going to race again, they could keep him in Florida in the Florida Derby, or they can go to the bluegrass too, but they already have the points. So I think the pressure is kind of off. And this horse has actually shown that he can run really well off of a layoff too. So maybe they just wait till the Kentucky Derby. And we also saw a big upset in the San Felipe Stakes. So let's talk about journalism. Looked really good, passing Barnes at the end. So for journalism, it was Umberto Rispoli was aboard for Michael McCarthy, the trainer. And Rispoli has a quote in the media saying this horse just really, went into beast mode at that point. I love that line. And, journalism picked up 37.5 Kentucky Derby points because the field was reduced to 5 horses. So there's rules in the Kentucky Derby prep races with these points in the structure is that the winner, when it's only a field of 5 horses or less, it's going to be the winner's going to get less points. So 37.5 qualifying points that journalism picked up. This horse really, he's got a big buzz online. And, this was big strides to pass Barnes, who was a really hyped up horse here, purchased for over $3 million. And Barnes, through all these Kentucky Derby future pools. So the future pool basically is you could place a wager on a horse ahead of the big race for the Kentucky Derby. And Barnes is leading that future pool. So it's going to be interesting. This is really going to shake things up for sure. There's actually still pool 5 and pool 6 left for that. So I think this is really going to shake things up. I think journalism is going to shoot really towards the top there. So interesting performance there in the San Felipe, 1 to circle in a horse field of 5, really an action-packed race for a field of 5 horses. And we also saw some really impressive older male division performances coming back. So we saw a Mind Frame for the Rapoli Connections, impressive performance to win the Grade 2 there at Gulfstream Park. Very professional win. And really, I saw a lot of the pictures with Irad and even Tom Brady in the winner's circle. And how about Locked? Locked, ran last in the Pegasus, second to White Barrio, wins the Santa Anita Handicap, and going away. If you watch the replay of this horse was 4 wide on each turn, and just had a trip, a nightmarish kind of trip. And then a lot of horses would have just packed that in to be 4th place at that point, but not Locked. This horse just went into another gear and went away, wins by 8.5 lengths in a dazzling performance in the Santa Anita Handicap. As you see, I love talking about these horses with you guys. And yeah, this is a racing recap. So I come out with it usually Monday morning. So it's going to be Monday mornings, going to be recapping our plays here. We didn't catch the exacta or try either in the Fountain of Youth. So that was something I was against Sovereignteen. But now we got the Tampa Bay Derby coming up. So I'm going to be talking about that this week. Going to look to get back in the winner's circle here on the Each and Every Stride YouTube channel. So I hope you guys are going to be joining me for that. And check it out here. Make sure you like the video and subscribe here to the channel. Appreciate that. Let's have a winning week and cash it big on Saturday. Thank you for joining me on Racing Recap.